Hello, my most amazing artists. Today we're going to be taking out all of our papers that we painted in the past few weeks. You've got your skin color, you've got your hair color, and you have your shirt color and your background color. Today we're going to be starting with the skin color to make our head, neck, and shoulders. That's what you see in a self-portrait. You don't see your whole body. You usually just see, like in a school photo, you only see your head, neck, and shoulders, a little bit of your shirt. I'm going to use a head and neck tracer, but you don't have to. You could absolutely draw your own shape for your head and neck, but it has to be at least this big. I would also recommend drawing on the back side of your papers. That way you don't see your pencil lines when we cut them out. I'm going to go ahead and draw my own shape for my head and neck just like Vanessa Brantley Newton does. You don't have to use a tracer. The tracer is just a guide in case you need to draw big. When you are cutting, make sure that you're cutting the correct way, holding the scissors away from your body with your thumb always going up in the top part of that scissors and your peace sign down. Then when you're cutting, you do not want to do daddy shark chomps. That's no good. That could make a very messy cut and you could accidentally cut an ear off or a part of your head. Make sure you're doing baby shark chomps all the way around, working very slowly with anything you cut today. Today we're drawing with scissors, meaning that anything we draw is going to be cut out and glued on because that's a collage. Always throw away your scraps, but if you have a big scrap, you can put that in the center of your table to save for another person. Then I'm going to get out my background paper to see where I want to put it. After I do that, I get out my hair paper. My hair is going to go in the direction that I drew it or that I painted it. So I see that my flow of my hair goes down, so I'm going to hold the paper that way. And then I'm going to go ahead and trace my head and neck. I didn't glue that down yet because I need it to trace to draw my hair on top. That way I make sure that it fits when I cut it out. So I hold it down on the back of the paper and then I'm going to flip my paper over and cut it out. This is just to make sure that it fits. You can absolutely draw your own hair, or if you need an idea, you can borrow a hair tracer. There's all different kinds of hairstyles. But remember, this is like a paper doll. You're building it up. You're not drawing it on yourself. Everything is going to be cut and glued from paper, just like Vanessa does in her illustrations. So if I want a different hairstyle, I gotta make sure that it fits on my head. It's better to do something too big than to cut it out too small. So it's always a good thing because I can always give myself a haircut on my paper after. Now when I'm cutting it out, I see that my head shape is here, but my head shape is not going to be the part that I keep. That's going to go in the scrap bin in the center of my table. I'm only keeping the part that I'm cutting out right now, my hairstyle. Then I'm going to go ahead and see if it fits on top of my head by holding it there, but I'm not going to glue it yet in case I change my mind. You are ready to glue. Always make sure you glue on the back of the paper that you're gluing down. Don't glue on the background and then stick the paper down. You always flip the paper over and glue it. Now you'll see that this glue stick's a little different. It's not like a normal glue stick like I'm using now. I was using that glue bottle. That is full of liquid glue in a bingo marker. Just like we use with our ink, if you've used the ink bottles in art class, it's the same way. Just make sure you're pressing down, not squeezing the bottle. Then you're going to flip it over and give it a good massage. Paper likey. That way it really sticks. If something does not stick because those glue daubers or the bingo daubers filled with glue aren't just working, then you can always use a good old Elmer's glue stick, or you can use stronger glue that Miss Q has in that brown bottle that you just saw. Then I'm going to go ahead and see what else I need on my portrait. Not gluing anything just yet. I just wanted to show you how to use the glue. I probably should wait to glue until I'm all done cutting out my pieces. So I cut out a nose using a nose tracer. I'm going to make some eyebrows. I can make those myself. Now anything that's symmetrical, meaning it's double, like your eyes or your eyebrows, all you have to do is fold a piece of paper in half and then cut that shape out. That way it cuts out two of them. If you use an eye tracer, know that it might be a little too big and you're going to have to cut it down smaller like I just did. Sometimes my tracers aren't the right shape or the size for you, so make sure that you're drawing your own if you need to. Then don't forget that inside of the eye you've got your iris or the color of your eye. I'm going to use a lip tracer on a fun piece of paper. Today you're going to have not only your scrap bin that everybody can donate to in the center of the table, but you'll also have some really fun scrapbooking papers that you can borrow for different fun patterns or colors for certain details of your face. But you shouldn't use it for all of them. We want some of it to be realistic, like your nose color. I use some of my skin color for that, but you could use a different color if you want to. Then maybe I add some eyeshadow on. Maybe I decide I want to switch my hair color. That's why it's important to always save your scraps or the larger pieces. That way you can change your mind or redo something if you need to. That's why we painted big papers, so we have plenty of room to redo if we need to. Everything that you do, you're doing with your scissors today. Remember, we're drawing with scissors. Next week, you'll be able to add details with Sharpies, but not today. Today, we're challenging ourselves by only drawing with those scissors and cutting and gluing everything as a collage. Now, I think I'm almost ready to glue, but I need to give my person a shirt. So I want to make sure that I give it its hairstyle, its eyebrows, eyes, nose, mouth, maybe even a scrunchie I can draw on there to make, or a hair tie you could go ahead and make if you have an updo if you're a girl or a boy. Then I'm going to go ahead and make my shirt. When it comes to my shirt, I can pick out a fun piece of paper. Now, this is where it would have been a great idea not to glue my portrait down yet, because now I have to get a new tracer to draw that head shape, or not the head shape, but the shirt shape, just the shoulders. We live in Florida, so our shirts are not turtlenecks. They don't come all the way up to your chin. We don't need those. It's hot here. So I'm just tracing the bottom of the neck or the shoulders. That way I can cut out a shirt shape. Again, it's better to cut out a shape that's too big rather than too small. That way you make sure that you don't have to waste that paper and get a new one like I had to make it fit just right. Then maybe I want to cut out some newspaper details for something like the collar, some buttons. You can do whatever you want. You can also make yourself wearing whatever color shirt you want or whatever kind of shirt you want. You could make yourself wearing a tank top or spaghetti straps or a dress, but remember, you're only showing a little bit of that shirt. So it can be whatever you want. You don't have to use the shirt color that we painted on our painted papers, but whatever you do, make sure it's school appropriate and you're doing your absolute best work, only cutting with your scissors, not drawing with pencil or Sharpies today, only drawing on the shapes that we're going to cut out. It's also a good idea to draw on the back. When I'm gluing, I'm making sure that I'm only gluing on the back side of the item that I'm gluing down. Now, when it came to my nose, you'll notice I can't really see it too well. So I would recommend using a lighter or darker color paper for your nose. That way it stands out just a little bit. Then I'm going to glue down my eyes. Make sure that you are using a white piece of paper for the back of your eye. The eyeball is white, and then you have your iris, which is the color. That is a little hard to glue, so I have to actually hold that tip to the tip of my glue bottle and press down. Remember, we don't squeeze those glue bottles. Just pressing down will work, just like it does when we use them for ink. Then I'm going to glue on all my little pieces. Today your tables might get gluey, and that's okay. We'll clean them up after. Just make sure that you don't have any glue accidents on your final paper. That's the most important part. These masterpieces we want to keep awesome for our art show. So absolutely make sure you're doing your best work. But the best part about collage is you can't really make a mistake because you can always cut and glue a new piece if you need to. Make sure that by the end of class today, the majority of your cutout pieces are glued down onto your background paper. You want to make sure that everything fits on that paper and that you don't lose any of your loose pieces. It's very easy to do, so always keep your cutout papers by you, and when you're gluing down, flip over that paper often to give it a good massage so it makes sure that it sticks and doesn't fall off. If you do have any papers that you did not get to cut out today, but you want to save for next time we work on these, please put them inside of your table folder so that we don't lose them. If you put them on the center tray of your table, that means that you're donating them to another class because you're done with them. Remember, any teeny tiny scraps that can't be used for another person, make sure we throw those away. But any large pieces of paper that you could use again for another part for the collage, put in the center table. For example, this shiny paper. I'm going to use these sparingly. These are special papers that I'm going to use for only certain accessories or details of my face. So maybe I make some earrings out of the shiny paper and glue it on. If you don't get to the accessories today, that is okay. The most important thing is that you get any loose pieces that you cut out, glued down today, or put in your table folder. Then gather anything up that you don't want to keep and put it in the center table for the donation scraps. Anything that's too little, put in the trash can. Nobody needs those, so you can throw them away. Then make sure you put your lids on your glue sticks or your caps on your glue sticks, put your scissors back in your bin, pencils, anything you use today, and tracers back at the back table. Tracers do not go in the scrap bin. They go back with my other tracers. Make sure that you do the wiggle test so nothing falls off your paper, and then you can put it in your table folder. All right, awesome artists, I cannot wait to see what you collage today.